So the recording is now started. Um, Today is auspicious day in India. The festivity is called Makara Sankranti. Happy Makara Sankranti to all the guys on the call. Guys, I've just started recording, so whatever you say from now is going to be on the record. So please be careful. I'm going to share my screen in like a minute. If you guys have access to the meeting minutes, the dev meeting minutes, please open it up. I'm going to share the link here in a minute. Hope you all have access to it. I see Mitanshu is new here. Is that right, Mitanshu? All right. I'm pretty sure he's looking for the unmute button somewhere there. But that's all right. So I'm gonna actually make a note here. Mitanshu, thanks a lot for joining the call. You're definitely
Yeah,
very welcome here. It's nice to have you here. Um, hey, okay, awesome. So finally you're responding. I'm sorry, I for a second I thought it was Shubham. Hey, Mutanshu,
yeah,
if you want to introduce yourself to the team, that'll be great because this is like the first time you're joining the call, right?
yeah. So I am a final year student at IIT Guwahati. Uh, I'm interested in backend and DevOps side, so that's why I want to join this community and contribute in any way possible.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Excellent, excellent. So I'm just making, I just made a quick note of whatever you said. That's awesome. It's lovely to have you here, and I'm not sure how much you have heard about the project. This is it's a great project. There are like a lot of folks like you who have been contributing to this project for quite some time. So absolutely we have quite some amount of work to be done in the back end DevOps so I'm pretty sure you will be able to find something which would be of interest to you. Not just that but also I hope the project will give you the opportunity to learn new things. That's like the most important thing, as most of the people here on the call would see it. So
Yeah,
so this call is actually, I mean, just to let you know that this is a development call. So we have two calls during the week. Wednesdays at this time is the development call. On
okay,
Friday, it's not this exact time, but like 1 hour later, we have a community call. And that's like more of a general call, where all the community members participate, so that call will have slightly a bigger attendance. But this call is like more of a call which has been created for discussing development things. Just we just talk about what each and every one of the people in this call are working on. What are they going to do next? If they are stuck on something, this is kind of one of the calls where we try to, if there's time, we try to resolve it, or we try to start the conversation here and then try to take it offline and then continue the conversation there. So this is more like that kind of a call. So I hope that makes sense to you, Mitanshu.
yeah.
Awesome.
Uh,
So I mean, have you already started working on something?
no, I'm just going through the documentation and should I start uh, use with the issues, put first issue, or I don't know where to start from, like
Gotcha.
contributing.
Right. So I mean, there are many ways you can go about it. Yes, you're right. There are some contributing docs, which I'm pretty sure you would have got an email with, right?
Yes, yes.
So that's like those are some general guidelines, but what you said is precise. Where go to GitHub issues and try to find all the issues across all the repos, because I mean, when you search for repos, sorry, when you search for issues, the usual strategy people use is go to repo, go to the issues, and then check for issues. But then there is this other way where you can actually find out there are all the issues across all the repos in the org. I'll see if I
Okay.
can send you that link, so that way you can take a look at all the ones you are interested in, and then once you find a an issue you are interested in, feel free to assign the issue to yourself. If it is already assigned to somebody else, then I would say talk to them, see if they are working on it. If they are not working on it, you can definitely ask to take it over. If the issue
Okay.
is not assigned, then you are definitely free to assign it to yourself, and then go from there. Makes sense. I mean, yeah, sometimes like you might not understand the issue, but if you think it is a backend or a DevOps issue which you are interested in, I will say first assign the issue to your name, and then you can always come back to the Meshery channel, and then ask us questions about like what this issue is about, right? Makes sense, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so don't get like pushed back by a fact that what the title doesn't give you all the information you're looking for. I mean, it happens, right? Sometimes we try to because for example, like when I create an issue, sometimes I would do it in a way that, hey, I want to create this issue before I forget it, so I create this issue with a simple title, and maybe like 1 or 2 line description. Obviously that's not enough for fixing the issue, right? But
Yeah.
so in those situations, feel free to reach out to me or Lee, or I mean anybody in the community. Like feel free to ping us on the Meshery channel, and I'm pretty sure somebody like will be able to get with you and explain the issue, so that you can actually start working on it.
Okay.
Awesome, guys. Okay, so let's get started. Like so it's already 15 minutes past the hour. So awesome. Like so we have like 7 people on the call. I have not yet started presenting. I'm going to present now. Just a second. All right, so I hope you guys can actually see my screen. So if you guys can see my screen, just a second. Can you guys see my screen? Awesome, awesome. Yeah, thank you, Shubham. So feel free to actually update the meeting minutes docs. So Mitanshu, like I'm pretty sure like you should have access to it. If not, like let me know. I'll do my best to get you access. Fundamentally, like so this is a doc like where everybody tries to come in and write down what they're working on, what they want to do next, what they're stuck on, etc. So that like we can, I mean, given that like there are like six or more than 6 people on the call, it's better we keep the conversation short for every person. And if somebody needs a longer conversation, we can always come back to that conversation towards the end of the call, given the time. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So Anand, let's start with you. I mean, like given the ordering, like in this document, like I'll just follow that order unless somebody wants to disagree and go first.
I'm fine to go first. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sure. So I'm starting to present my screen. Uh,
All right.
just a second. Yeah. So here is the issues that I have worked on, and I have completed my work on all of these issues. And yesterday I asked Lee for another issue on which I can work on, and some smaller issues. So one of the issue that he gave me, that
Um. Uh.
this one,
Right. Awesome. Awesome.
this this MrCTL test command, to make create a test command for MrCTL, so that we can uh, pro- we can produce the test on the CLI mode. And the other issues are smaller issues, like the changing social media icons, for updating the icons for social medias, and some docs related issues. So I saw this today that Subham self-assigned this morning. So I'm thinking about getting another issue to work on.
Oh, okay. So Shubham is going to be working on 596. Okay, awesome. So
Yeah.
so Anand, like so you are working on something else. You said.
Actually, I have completed my work on these two, the recent ones. One of them is merged, and another is on review.
Excellent. 449, 450.
Yeah, 449 is on review, and 450, I think it's merged. Actually, I wanted to know if there is anything else that we want to add in this issue.
No, no, I don't think so. You can actually close this issue.
Okay, that's great.
Hello. Anand, can you check the chat?
Okay, yeah, sure.
So Shubham is suggesting
Okay,
you take the issue because he's going to be off for some time. Is what he's saying.
yeah. Yeah, so that's great. I can start working on. Actually, I've already started working on that issue
Oh, that's
from last
fantastic.
couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
When we last talked about that. Yeah, the test command and the documentation. I read the documentation, so I've already
Awesome.
started working on it.
Awesome, dude.
We had a talk. I had a talk with Lee, and he told me to work on this. Start
Beautiful.
working on it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So
Yeah.
Anand, one other thing, Lee is not able to join the call, but he is looking at the document that you can see like
Uh,
he is now writing some notes.
okay.
All right, so while we are looking at this, let's move on to the next person. Anand, unless you have something else.
No, actually, I don't have anything else
All
to
right,
say.
so you have something to work on. Now the update thing, I haven't had a chance to completely test it, so I'm going to take it for a spin,
Yeah.
whenever I have some time, and I'll get back to you with some feedback.
Yeah, sure. That's great.
Awesome, awesome, Anand. Thank you, thank you. Shubham, do you want to go next? Okay, no worries. Like I mean, you can chat your messages. I'll speak it out. So looks like Shubham already assigned issue 596 to Anand. Shubham already I think closed one other issue yesterday. I'm not sure. Is that issue number 390? Is that what you have recorded in the document, Shubham? Oh, all right. Okay, so you know what? Now let me share my screen again, and see if I can bring this up. Okay, all right. So here, so you can see. So Shubham has already written his thing. That he is completed with 390. So you want to have a discussion on 395 or 595? Because in your chat, I think you mentioned 395 or 595. All right, all right. Okay, so I'm going to. So and then let's go to one of the issues, and then change it to 395. Sorry, 595. All right, CLI based SMPS import. Okay. So this is related to the 596. So you know what? I'll keep this here, and I'm going to go here. So this is 596 import and test execution. So I'm partly confused because both say CLI based import. See, that's saying Meshery CT. This is Meshery CTL based import, and this is CLI based import. I think both are actually the same. I'm partly confused, but to give you a heads up, this is an interesting issue, and it's actually a bigger issue because the first thing is that we haven't yet completed the part of exporting the test results in an SMPS format. So we will have to get to this after we complete that export, because now again the work has to be done not just from the CLI part, but it has to start from from the top. Yeah, no, I mean it's good that you assign it to yourself, absolutely. But the point is that it's a much bigger story. It has to first come from Meshery itself. Meshery has to support importing the specification using REST APIs, and then we can actually add a flag in Meshery CTL with which we can actually import the file. So it's going to have a bit of a work because we have to start from Meshery. I'm actually working on a very similar thing, but I'm actually working right now on the exporting capability. I've not yet come to the import. So Shubham, when you are coming to this, So you will have to collaborate with me, and we can work through this thing, in order to complete this and take it through to completion. Now, one thing I'm going to do is this 596. So you can see Lee has actually mixed both, uh, because he's talking about a part of the SMPS import here. So you can see he's saying provide -f file import of an SMPS document, and at the same time, he's also talking about the test somewhere here. So well, one of you guys, if you can actually ping Lee and just split this issue properly, so that one is completely for the SMPS import, the other one is for test execution. And now the good thing is that test execution part, it's ready in Meshery. So Anand should be able to execute that. But the SMPS import, we are not yet completely ready. So Shubham, I'll say reach out to me. But in the meantime, see if you can actually find another issue which you can spend more of your time on, because the import is going to take a little bit more time than expected. Does that make sense, Shubham? Awesome. That's fantastic. Okay. All right. Anything else you're working on, Shubham? And if I understood correctly, you said you were going away for a few days. How long are you going away for? Oh, for 3 days. Okay, awesome. Okay. All right. And that is starting today, or I mean, like tomorrow or day after. I mean, that kind of a days, or it's all right. You can answer that a bit later. That's all right. So Anand, I hope you were seeing the message which Lee is actually printing here. Now, while we are doing that, Shubham, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to jump to the next person on the call, and the next person on the call. So Nikhil, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Hey, Nikhil. What are you working on?
Sir, I was working on Cytoscope, and recently some new changes regarding that performance test and default user interfaces was updated. A new issue was opened for that for sending the user statistics of the machine to the performance team, the team backend. So the new update must be made. A issue was opened for sending anonymous user statistics. And I think that is related to the issue on which Raghav is working. So once he's completed with that, then I'll be working on that.
Nikhil, the user stats thing is not related to what Raghav is working on. But I mean, when you say that's something Raghav is working on, are you talking about the backend support for it?
No, sir, not the backend support. I'm doing only front end. The toggle button that will be putting on.
So I'm sorry. So I thought you were working on the page for presenting that user stats thing. Are you not?
I don't think the issue is regarding that. I think it's only about sending the user statistics.
Right. So yeah, it's like that flipping switch, right? So are you working on that, or Raghav is working on that?
Uh, as per yesterday's discussion, I think I just had to make a news, add a toggle button to enable the switch, to enable to send the statistics to the machine backend.
Gotcha. Okay. So one thing I wanted to let you know is that the backend support for this thing is already added. So one minor update is that there will not be one toggle switch, but there will be two toggle switches. So let's have a chit chat after this call on Slack. Yeah, I mean it's not hugely different. I can also give you the API endpoints to which you can send the data to, so it'll make your life a lot easier. So I mean the point I'm trying to make is that the backend support is completed. It's merged into master yesterday, so it's all ready for you to consume.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Cool.
Sure.
So that's going to be issue 599. Okay, that's fantastic. All right, anything else you're working on, Nikhil?
Uh, I wanted to know how to make a REST API for the performance check using the site of state. So I think we can discuss that on the Slack.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You know what, like I can give you the API calls you need to make, etc. Like, so that way, when people do something in the chart, like, in the network graph, you will be able to initiate the calls.
Okay.
All right, Shubham. Thanks a lot for joining the call today. I know that you have to go. See you soon. All right, like, let's move on to Ashish. Hey, Ashish.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
Uh, Sir, I have already mentioned on which of the issues I have already worked on and completed it. And currently, we'll be working on issue number 600, where I need to update the docs release page with the version numbers from 0.333 to 0.36.
Okay.
And yeah, and sir, also I'm working on fixing the lint errors which is occurring in the Istio repo, Meshery Istio repo.
Gotcha. I know that makes sense.
And so last week, which issue which I was facing in layer 5 Istio adapter repo, where I was not able to compare and pull the changes. So sir, that issue is also fixed. I did the same thing which Lisa told me, that to again delete that particular fork of the repo, then again fork it, and then again clone it, and then again do the task which you want to do. So now it is fixed, sir.
Excellent. That's fantastic, actually. Yeah, great suggestion, and yes, that's awesome. Cool, Ashish. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. I mean, that's great. Like, I mean, yeah. So this is awesome. Like, I mean, so yeah, you have a lot of updates. Yeah, this is great. And thanks a lot for writing them down here. It saves me a lot of work here. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Like, so let's move on to the next person. Is Gunjan on the call?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Sir,
Gunjan.
am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Hey.
Sir, actually, since a few days I was not able to work on any issue, but I faced the lightbox issue, which is on Meshery.io. So I worked on that particular issue only.
Nice. That's good. That's good, Gunjan. What else are you working on?
So actually, I'm trying to fix the errors where I'm getting security check issue and static build issue. So I'm focusing on those issues, but right now I'm not working on that. Most probably I'll start working for tomorrow.
Gotcha. One quick question. I know that, like, Lee mentioned something like
Yes, sir.
you and Supratik are working on a Helm chart related issue.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct? Now,
Yes.
one thing Lee, actually, I think he might have mentioned this to you, that I think he was recommending you guys like collaborate with this other person, who is from Helm. Did he already tell this to you?
Yes, sir. I talked to Supratik, and I told him that I had at that time I completed the two files, that was values.yml and the chart.yml. I completed that, and after that I don't have any update from Supratik. So
Gotcha. But is Supratik on the
hello.
call today? He is not, right? Okay.
No, sir.
Sir, right now, hello.
Gotcha. So you can see that, like, Lee is actually writing in the document. If you're seeing my screen, so the point is that he and Ashiku, I think like they had a chat, and looks like he has laid out a design. So fundamentally,
Okay.
like Lee just asked, or he informed me that like Ashiku is already there with the design. So maybe like you and Supratik like should probably like collaborate with him. Is kind of like what he was telling. So
Okay. Okay, sir.
yeah, you know what, like, yeah, please feel free to reach out to Ashiko, and see if you can work with him. If you have something completed, like ask Ashiko to actually review it, and help with taking it further, so that you guys
Mm-hmm.
can actually complete that.
Okay, sir.
All right, awesome, that's fantastic. Anything else you're working on, Gunjan?
No, sir. That's all.
Gotcha, cool. Yeah, thanks, Gunjan. Nupur.
Hi everyone.
Hey, Nupur, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Hey, not too bad.
Yeah, sir. So today in the morning itself, like morning in the India, you gave me a issue which is 212. I'll be presenting my screen so that you can
It's awesome.
see it.
I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you assigned me this issue 212.
Yes.
So I went through it, that what exactly is happening in it. So it is about the load generator, and I like how to incorporate WRK2 in it. And you asked me about the extension of the, like, if I'm not wrong, the part was mm, where some part of the interface are not created. So you asked me to go through it. So I realized that this issue is already closed with reference to the other issue, which is 486.
Right.
So I was not sure that am I supposed to reopen this, and whatever tasks are written over in milestone 3 which are unchecked, am I supposed to fix them, or is there something else I need to do?
No, that's precise. So so what I mean, I'll give you a very brief history, like so that like it doesn't take too much time. So the thing is, so WRK2's integration was planned during summer last year, and we completed it. Now the only thing that's pending is that, so right now if you go to the UI, you will see, like if you go to the performance section, you will see that at the bottom you will see an option to choose between FortIO and WRK2, right? So that part is completed, but the problem is that the way we completed it is, we completed it without creating an interface. So the way we did it is, like now there are two functions in Go. One will initiate the FortIO test, and the other one will initiate the WRK2 test. So what we need to do is that we want to create a interface, have both, create implementations for FortIO and WRK2, which will implement that interface. That's pretty, and then wire the things together again appropriately. That's so this is the part that was not completed, and that's the part, like we want to complete. So I definitely know that, like I have to give you more context, but I just wanted you to look at the code and, like kind of get some familiarity. So this is a fantastic start. So what we can probably do is, towards the end of this call, let's continue this chat, and I can walk you through, like what is done and what needs to be done.
Okay, sir. Definitely, I'll chat with you on Slack so that I can get a brief of the history, whatever tasks have been done, and whatever is to be continued.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, Nupur. Yeah, awesome. Let's come back. Like I just want to finish with all the people on the call, and then let's have an extended discussion.
Yeah, sure.
Mitanshu, hey, do you have anything for us? I know, I mean, like, that this is the first time you're joining the call, and you just introduced yourself to the team. No pressure. I'm just checking. Because we didn't want to finish the call like without going around the table.
Nothing. I have nothing.
Gotcha. So, Mitanshu, like, I mean, so you just saw, like, all the other people, like, are contributing actively. So, the point I'm trying to make here, though, is, feel free to reach out to anybody. If you have any questions on, like, what others are working on, if you want to give, get an idea of, like, what they're working on, feel free to ping them. Slack is your best collaborative tool here. Or if you have some general questions, don't hesitate to ask on the Meshery channel. Don't feel that, hey, what, this is going to be like a simple question. Any question you have, feel free to actually ask in the Meshery channel. I'm pretty sure, like, one or the other person, like, here, or maybe multiple people would be very happy to actually, like, answer and help you get started.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Awesome, Mitanshu. Anybody else I've left out? I hope not. So we covered Nupur, Nikhil, Ashish, Anand. Guys, so before I conclude the call, like, I mean, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about before I break out and have a session with Nupur?
G. I want to have a conversation on as Lee sir has written us that description. I wanted to have a conversation on the server version that Lee wants on the message.tl version command. So if we can have some conversation on that or some discussion on that, that would be great for me.
No, absolutely. So I'm just looking at it now. So now that concept would actually work well. If, for example, Meshery CTL is built and and Meshery are built separately, but in our case we are building them together. So if Meshery CTL is version 1.2.3, Meshery will be version 1.2.3. So I'll say for now you can actually use the same value there. But eventually what's going to happen is that we will move Meshery CTL outside of Meshery repo, and that way what will happen is, like, Meshery CTL might have its own version versus Meshery itself might have a different version. I mean, we're not there yet. Like, as of today, we are bundling them together in the sense that anytime Meshery is getting built, Meshery CTL will also get built and released. So which means both Meshery and Meshery CTL are going to be on the same version. The only difference that is that, like, eventually we are going to also support cases where the same Meshery CTL might accept some kind of some generic flags like like double-dev or something of that sort. So in which case what will happen is that the Meshery CTL, for example, version 123 might actually download the latest version of the Meshery Docker image and run. So which means in that case Meshery CTL version will be 1.2.3, but the Meshery version will be latest or something of that sort. You see the point? And also, we will also be providing support for working with specific versions of Meshery. So what's going to happen is, so if 1.2.3 version has a problem, then the Meshery CTL might actually take a version number as an argument, and it would probably run a specific version of Meshery. Like, for example, hey, I just tried 1.2.3 and it looks like it's having some issues. So people, would want to go back to their old version. So in which case we'll be like, we'll allow them to do like Meshery CTL start --version 1.2.2, which means even though Meshery CTL is version 1.2.3, their Meshery version after it starts would be 1.2.2. You see the point? Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, so I think this will be a good starting point. Like, I mean, just start with bringing the flag in, and then let's start, like, wiring it up. But fundamentally, one place, like, where you can look for the version number is that you see the Docker compose file. In the Docker compose file, there is a section for Meshery, and that Meshery has an image, the Docker image. Now, if that image, eventually what's going to happen is we're going to start adding the tags, right? So now when we go there, you can actually probably extract the version from there. But I mean, as of today, the Meshery CTL and Meshery will be the same version. So, I mean, Yeah. So let's bring the flag and then let's start gradually updating things around it so that you can actually get this information from somewhere else.
So, do I need to change in Go releaser? So, I don't think we need to change Go releaser now.
No, no,
We
no, no.
just need.
Yeah, no, no.
Okay.
Just change. I mean, like, so first thing, like, so when somebody asks for version, just do what Lee asked, but the server version and the client version will be the same. We can
Uh,
we can talk about it. Make sense?
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's get
Totally.
that started, and then eventually we'll start making other changes, which will actually bring in more changes in this one particular feature as well.
Awesome.
Awesome, dude. Cool. Anything else others want to discuss? All right. Okay. So if people don't have anything else, then Nupur,
Hi, I have one more issue,
sure, sure,
which is
sure.
related to last week. I was trying to like run Meshery.io on my machine, and for that I needed Ruby, Gem, and Bundler. So I installed them step by step. Then by the command make site, I tried to go through it. I contacted Anand for that as well, but he told me that this was the same issue Raghav was also facing. So he told me another way to do that, but I really want to know that because whatever way I tried, I got to know that the reason is something related to bundler. That maybe the installation is something happening wrong, or I really don't know. So there are issues which are happening due to bundler. So if I'll present my screen to you. Mhm.
Sure. Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So if I do makes, like if I tell you the version of Ruby, it's working fine.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you gem, then there are few functions which are deprecated, but it's not. It's just warnings, no error. And if I do wonder, I think there is some load such file error. So I am unable to understand why this is happening. And due to this, if I go make site, then also that the bundler error is consistent. So why, like, I really wanted to know that why is it happening. I got the another way which Anand told me, and I successfully did that, but I really want to know that why this is happening.
That's definitely an interesting thing. Unfortunately, like I'm not more of a like a bundler guy. So, but one thing I can tell you is that I don't like running it this way. I think I've probably told all the other guys like who asked me this question. So the way I do it is, there is another make command there. Can you type make docker and then hit enter and let's see if that works. So now what this does is that it will run the site inside of a Docker container. But the good thing is that as you make changes, the changes will be live loaded. So which means you don't have to like restart this.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So now
this is
this will be working inside Docker image.
correct. Yeah, this is going to run inside Docker container.
Okay.
So I like to do it this way because I mean, I'm not against any language, but then I mean, languages like Ruby and Python, they have this like a lot of dependency issues. People run into this. So this is not like a new thing. So and I'm not I kind of hate it. So the way I kind of run these things is actually run inside a container. So even if like for example I have to mess with a container, after my work is done, I ditch the container and then go on. You see the point? So it doesn't affect my mission, but rather everything is just run inside a container, and it's a bit clean. Since this is the first time you're running it, it's taking a little bit longer because it's downloading the Docker image. But once you have the image, from then on, it's going to be usually much faster.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yes, I mean, see if this works. If you run into an issue, like feel free to reach out to me, and like I'll be very happy to help you with it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So if everybody's done, so I'm going to take a minute, like and explain a tiny bit of thing to Nupur. So I'm going to share my screen. in a second. So this is actually the best thing. Guys, again, but this time I'm going to be doing something else. I'm going to actually walk through the code. Like, I mean, like, there's this one section of the code, like, which might be of interest. All right, so this is Meshery. Now here, Nupur, so here there is a package called helpers. Now here you see two files here, right? Like, one is Ford.io. Now this Ford.io, it contains some, these are like, these are unimported functions. I mean, so these functions are used internally in the same file. But here you can see line number 41, the Ford.io test is actually the main function that is invoked when, a load test is requested. And you can see that, all it takes is like, it takes a bunch of arguments and then it actually returns like, results in a particular format. So this is how the whole Ford.io thing works. Now, the other example here is if you go to helpers and go to go WRK2, here you'll see again, so there is this other function. And if you look closely, the arguments and the return parameters, they actually, they will match the exact pattern as that other Ford.io test. So fundamentally, I mean, the code here is functional. So the ask of you is actually to not change this, I mean, the contents of this function, but rather the way we wanted it to do is that, so right now you can see there is one function for Ford.io, one function for WRK2. And now where is this invoked is that if you go to handlers, there is this load test handler. Now in that load test handler, if you actually look closely, there is a place where we check if the, if the choice is Ford.io or just a second, or WRK2. That's publish results. So is that happening somewhere else? Collect stats now. Oh, just a second. I think it'll be just easier if I can search. Right. So here you can see that, like, we are actually choosing the load generator, and then with the choice of the load generator, the Ford.io, right there. So here there is a function. It's called the execute load test. Now, if you go to the execute load test, which is right here, it's not far. So you can see here that, if the load generator is WRK2, then you can see it invokes that other function I told you about. And if the function is, if it is else, which means Ford.io is our default choice, it will run the Ford.io load test. So now what's going to happen is eventually tomorrow or day after, like, so we add support for more load generators. Now what's going to happen is this is going to keep increasing, right? Like, and it'll be like, if this, else this, else this. So that's normal. But then what we have right now is, like, you can see that we have a function for Ford.io and a function for WRK2. But what we would really want is actually like an interface for WRK2 and an interface for Ford.io. So the reason why we want an interface is that in this case, based on the choice, we can actually choose the implementation and invoke the method on that implementation. So that's the change we want, to work on. I mean, I hope you can work on it, but if you need more clarifications, let me know. But so fundamentally, you have to create a Go interface, and then you have to create a Go struct for the Ford.io. You have to create a Go struct for WRK2, and then create instances for them. And then, but here the logic is going to be very identical. The only difference is instead of just calling the functions, you would be instantiating it and then calling the appropriate method on that. That's the change we want to work on.
Okay, so like whatever I understood, I like to brief that in this line number 82 and 84, if and else statement, there is WRK2 load test and Ford.io load test. So currently they are just function, but what exactly we want is a Go interface for both of them, separate Go interface for both of them. Am I right?
No. So we want one interface,
Okay.
like, so which will, so create one interface, and then now you will be creating a struct for WRK2 and you'll be creating a
Okay,
struct
okay,
for Ford.io,
yeah,
and
yeah.
make these two implement that interface. So that way, so we know that every load test generators, like, we want to use will always have those methods. It's like a contract, so and go from there. Make sense?
Okay, yeah, it makes sense to me now.
Awesome.
I'll work on it and I'll let you know where I stuck.
Exactly. I mean, feel free to reach out, like, and we can definitely collaborate and take this through to completion.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you.
Awesome, guys. All right. If others don't have anything else, then we can call it a day, and you guys can go and enjoy the rest of your today. See you guys on Friday. Yeah, bye guys. Yeah, see you guys.